The continent of Teyvat plays host to many fantastical creatures which we will encounter on our journey, from the simple yet lovable slime, to the ever-present hilly churl, to the eerie whopper flower. And one of these many creatures is the Cryo Regisvine, the subject of our video. Now I shall go over the drops, mechanics, and lore of the Regisvine. Yes, there is lore, and there is for every boss so far. So let's begin the series with the bosses. Alright, for starters, we'll begin with the location. You can find it just in Mondstadt, north of Falcon Coast. Shouldn't be too hard to find it. You'll probably just find it as you're doing the main quest line and you go to that temple, and probably like me, you're going to see those two burning flowers and going to be like, I wonder what's that? You go towards it and then you just see it and you're going to be like, oh, what's that? You jump down and here we are. So next up, we're going to move on to boss drops. After defeating the Cryo Regisvine, you'll be rewarded with a grandiose Hoarfrost core. Now this is going to be required to ascend the following characters. We got Kaya, Chanyun, Chi-Chi, Diona, Ganyu, and Rosaria. Now that we know which characters need this ascension materials, let's move on to the interesting part, the Regisvine itself and how to defeat it. But before that, I would recommend that you bring a Pyro character or Electro character, as they make this a lot quicker and, a lot less painful. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine by me, you can do you. So, knowing that, let's begin. As we approach the Cryo Regisvine, it'll wake up and by some means, it'll roar at you. And it'll use its appendages to shoot out icicles which will home in on the player. And it'll also use its appendages to shoot ice beams at you. All of these attacks do cryo damage. And it'll mostly use these attacks at a distance, because when you get closer to the Cryo Regisvine, it'll go in an upright and turn into a fan, leaving behind a frozen field around it, which will damage you over time, unless you have a shield, but it'll still imbue cryo on you. Now, as you can see at the roots of the Cryo Regisvine, there is a core. If you do manage to destroy this core, the Cryo Regisvine will be left in a paralyzed and weakened state for a period of time in which it receives increased damage. During that time, you can go all out and beat it senseless like an alcoholic father after a bad day of work. Now, when the Regisvine recovers, it'll retaliate by dragging its head across the ground in order to push you away, which does make you feel a little bad for it, since considering its main offense is smashing its head, but And now it'll also use a special attack that it has, which basically freezes the outer layer of the arena with a super ice beam, and during that attack it'll expose its head as the weak spot. So now, just like the core at its roots, just destroy the head and it'll enter a weak and paralyzed state. As you can see, the outer layer of the arena has now become a damaging zone, and it'll also imbue you with cryo, so it's best to just stay close to it. Although you would have to avoid its repeated head smashes, but once you get the pattern down, it's a relatively easy boss, and it's just rinse and repeat. Once it recovers, its weak spot will go to its roots, destroy its roots, it'll damage it, recovers, it goes to its head, rinse and repeat. A simple boss, really. So enjoy this unjust beatdown, I'd say, considering we just ran up on him, but enjoy.
Have mercy.
There is no mercy.
Now that we've defeated the Cryo Regisvine, we might find ourselves asking, what is a Cryo Regisvine? What the hell did I just kill? And so, let's investigate that. So, when we defeat a Cryo Regisvine, we receive something called a Hoarfrost core. As I explained previously, it's an ascension material. The description of the Hoarfrost core states the following: the exposed core of a defeated Cryo Regisvine. Pure cryo energy is contained within it. Energy and thoughts that swell deep within the earth will eventually erupt on the surface. Even the deathly silent frost will attach to living things on the ground, turning even ordinary vegetation like vines into huge, vicious predators. Now that's something good to go on, but let's also check the boss description. Now over here at the archives, and we go to the Regisvine, it says, a monster formed from a vine that was imbued with the essence of biting frost within the ley lines. Some studies suggest that plants are like organs of the world, harmonizing the turbulent elemental energies of the ley lines. Concrete examples of this phenomena are mist flowers, whopper flowers, and the likes, which brim over the elemental energy. In certain circumstances, certain plants will turn into creatures of monstrous size and intent, such as the Cryo Regisvines, in the course of many years. Now with this, we can infer that the Regisvines are simply mutated vines which have been affected by the ley lines to be transformed into these vicious predators that we see now. But there's also another possibility, that being the next. As you can see, this is a whopper flower, and its description states the following. With the passage of years, sufficient nutrition, and the right environment, it could even take root somewhere and grow into a giant Cryo Regisvine. So the boss that we fight could be a form of evolved whopper flower. Of course, if any of you here have played the Shadow Bit Snowstorm event, we remember fighting a fellflower. That could be attributed to the following, that due to the remains of Durin causing various mutations across Dragonspine, the fellflower could be a form of broken mutation, and it could also be caused due to the fake albedo's tinkering of the whopper bedo in order to deceive the traveler. But that's neither here nor there. Right now we're focusing on this Regisvine. Now moving to another aspect of the Cryo Regisvine. And this is more like an environmental detail that I like to add on. If you go outside of the boss arena, you can actually see a Cryo Whopper flower and a mist flower. Almost as if it's like trying to say that this is the evolutionary step. One is the mist flower, the other is the Cryo Whopper flower, and the end all be all, big Cryo Regisvine. Now, regarding the age and how long these creatures can live for, it's undetermined, so to say, but it's pretty long, like thousands of years old these creatures can get. And a good example of this is when we do Xiangling story quests and we go into some ruins, which are around Stonegate, and we face off against the Cryo Regisvine, we find a snow boar. These boars are like thousands of years old. This is before Barbados re-sculpted the land old. So this Cryo Regisvine that we killed during Xiangling's story quest was like thousands of years old. So that's a good estimate as to say how old these Regisvines can get. Well, that'll do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed making it, and I hope I was able to give an informative and enjoyable experience as you were watching. But I would like to apologize for the mic quality. If it's subpar, I'm literally recording this from my phone because I don't have a mic. I'll get one soon, but yeah. I'm hoping to make a video on every boss and make this a series, a series of which you can enjoy. And yeah, I wish you the best, and I hope you all have a great day or night wherever you are. Cheers.